Hi.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you? Or I guess afternoon. Yeah,
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's a beautiful day outside.
It's a beautiful day, and I was just about to go get a jacket because I'm just a cold person by nature. And
Mm-hmm.
then I thought, when I get going, I'm gonna get high. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought I'm just gonna grab. So I grabbed this,
That's
and
good.
look how closely it matches my color.
I know it's very color coordinated. That's
You
nice.
can you can tell how much I really love this color.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank
Is
you.
that is that is that like a bet? Do you usually take that to like in-person markets or something, or is that like a flag? What do you
What
have?
this right here? Oh, let me show
Yeah,
you.
your.
It's like a pashmina scarf.
Oh, okay.
So we moved from the Maryland D.C. area.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really big, and I love it because you can wear it like a scarf or even a blanket. It's great for people like me who are always hot and cold, hot and cold. So when
I
we
have.
lived in DC, it was I hate the cold weather, by the way. Like
Yeah.
that's everybody who knows me well knows that I really don't like being cold. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the biggest reasons we moved to San Antonio is because of the weather for me, right? I don't mind the 100-degree temperatures. I would
Yeah.
much rather it be 100 than 20.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so 3 months of 100, I'll take that, no problem. So even this time of year is a little bit too cool for me. I'm like, oh no, it's getting colder and colder. I'm looking outside to my garden. My garden's starting to wilt. That couple of nights that we had freezing temperatures, I lost some plants. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out this whole South Texas gardening thing.
Yeah.
So,
So what are you growing?
mm,
To garden. What are you growing?
so we moved in. We just moved into this house right before COVID hit. We bought a new house. So
Okay.
at the end of February, we moved in here, and then COVID hit. So I was just like, oh my goodness, I couldn't get like our furniture and all of the little decor items that I typically would have been shopping for that first few months. We weren't able to do any of that.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, I don't even know how I want to do my garden. The backyard was in complete disarray. It was completely bare when we moved in. So I thought, okay, first we need to get the grass together. Do we get sod? What am I going to do about my garden? So, and then in the midst of the kids not going back to school, my kids are still virtual today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the kids not going back to school and with COVID making us too scared to barely leave the house,
Yeah.
I started concentrating on the garden. So right now I had Thai basil, which I love. So I
Mm-hmm.
love Thai restaurants specifically for the dishes with Thai basil in them. So I thought I'll try to grow some. Now that
Sure.
we're here in South Texas, I might be able to grow some. So I had some Thai basil. I had some traditional basil. Both of those died in those 2 nights of freezing temperatures. And
Yeah.
it really sucks because they were doing so well.
Yeah.
And with the Thai basil, I was able to make 2 or 3 dishes before I lost the plant. But at least now I know, if nothing else, you just kind of live and learn. So I'm looking at it like that. I
Yeah.
love using natural plants and herbs in my products. So I have lots of mint, lemon balm. I have some citronella out there. The citronella died on that frozen night or two.
Yeah.
So a lot of living and learning going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have like full sun? I like try to grow things. Unfortunately, all like the places where I have space to try to grow stuff is just afternoon sun, so they just get crushed.
So I thought about it, and I have a good gardening friend that lives right across the street. So I visited his garden quite a few times before I put my plot down and went and got the plant.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned about South Texas sun is it is absolutely brutal, right? So I
Yeah.
love plants. Like in our front yard, we put a whole new bed out. Me and my husband, for the first time, we've never put a plant bed down. Put a plant bed down, and just said, "Look, we'll just try it."
See how
And
it
so
goes.
we put about 25 plants out front, and I was almost sure that everything was going to die over the summer.
Mhm.
And I think I lost 2 plants.
Wow.
So learned a lot. Definitely one of the nicer homes with the gardening out in the front. Everybody's like, how did you get those plants to live over the summer? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Lots of faith and love, I hope. I don't know. But then in the back, I thought, okay, well, I'd love to do some things back here, but with the 3 months of 100-degree temperatures, you can't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
So between the 100 degrees for 3 months and then the frost coming in November, December, I'm really still figuring it out. So I'm on a lot of gardening, especially South Texas gardening, because I have no idea how to grow things down here.
Yeah, and especially I know the soil is real tough. At least, so I don't know. I'm near Woodlawn Lake. Like I'm on like sort of like northwest of
Okay.
downtown. Um, but the soil here is just really, I think it's got a lot of clay in it. So like you'll see the houses, like there's a lot of pier and beam houses. Like where I live, it was built in
Hmm.
the 20s and 30s, and it like so all the housing foundation, it's always moving. Like the soil just is not. It's really loamy soil, so it's hard to grow a lot of the things. So you just got to
We
do better.
definitely have some of that going. And we're
Yeah.
on a lot that the houses up above us start to slant, and we're
Hmm.
one of the first houses that level off.
Okay.
So we, like you said, we're constantly noticing the soil is just kind of shifting. About a
Mhm.
week ago, we found an old path out in the backyard that had basically been covered by dirt shifting.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait until the summer to dig it up and see exactly what it is. Because these homes are built in I think this house is a 2005, 6, 7.
Okay.
So they're not that old, but a lot because I think, like you said, the land shifts so much. And we
Yeah.
have a quarry that blasts every morning.
So that's like resettling everything all the time up there.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
like resettling everything every day. And it's
Yeah.
a huge discussion in our neighborhood that what is it doing to our foundations and our soil and our plants and our, what is this going to look like 10, 20 more years from now?
Yeah.
So it's definitely, I've never lived like this before, by a quarry, the dirt constantly shifting, 3 months of 100-degree temperatures, and
Yeah.
like you said, the soil is extremely difficult to grow. So what we
Yeah.
did in the garden bed was we just built it up. So we
Hmm.
dug down a few inches and then we built up with um, what I think I use is it's a frog on the front. I use that soil
Okay.
and then just kind of did a whole bunch of organic gardening soil, trying to be as organic as possible.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not married to any of these plants. I'm kind of learning as I go. So if I lose some, that sucks. But oh well, we'll try again.
Yeah.
And so that's the approach. And so far, it's working. My
Yeah.
neighbors who have lived here for many, many more years than us, they're asking us what we're doing, and we have no idea.
Yeah. It's beginner's life, just kind of figuring it out.
We're
That's,
figuring it out.
yeah.
And being a part of the plant community and the gardening community and all of this, trying to do things in a natural way, it helps.
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure. So do you compost too, I assume, or is that part of your?
So two of the things that we want to start in the summer is composting because I'm very ignorant with how that works and what to do. And
Yeah.
we also want to start to collect rainwater. So we've
Yeah.
been looking at rainwater barrels because it's amazing how dry things get over the summer.
For sure.
You think about that constant 100-degree temperature every day, every night, every day, every night for months. Everything is so dry. And so we would love to be able to continue to water our plants over the summer from the rainwater. So
That's
that's
what.
the plan for the summer. But I need to learn about it. I have no idea.
So I have resources because we just put in a rainwater system last year. It's been about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
We 4,000 gallon tanks that we were
Wow.
able. Yeah.
One or two.
Uh, four of them. We have two. So there's like. So I actually live with my sister. She's in the casa in the front house, and I'm in the casita in the back
Okay.
house.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially two separate systems because we wanted to be pulling from both
Right.
routes. I've got like two tanks just out behind. There was like a little, like there's like a 6 foot setback from from the house behind us, so we could just kind of tuck them in behind the house so you don't even see it. And then she's got some just on the same two tanks on the side of the house up there. But we like since I'm not, we wanted to have like it's a large scale system and we're not doing drinking water, but it was the same thing for you, where we just wanted to be able to like water
Yeah.
her in the front yard. Like I live with 3 dogs, so we'd already ripped out the backyard and just put
Yes.
in turf because the dogs were just turning it into a mud pit, and we were like, well, we'll just put down fake grass, and we left like a little sand pit in the middle of the yard where they could still dig and do that stuff. But the front yard, there's lots of that came with the house. Like the people before us had really were adept
Yeah.
at. But that one, so if you want to do it, so we went through a company in Austin that they do large scale commercial systems, but they can install like residential systems as
Mhm.
harvest rain.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it yourself, EcoCentro, do you know about them?
You know what? Let me write that down. That is probably the third time I've heard that name.
Okay, so it's located right. It's a part of the Alamo College. It's like it was started by the college, so they're affiliated with the Alamo City College, and they're right across the street from the campus, like not far from me actually, on Main Street.
Okay.
And they do and I forget the guy's name, but I actually have a whole bunch of documents that tell you all this stuff. Like they do presentations, but they will also come out, and he did a site visit on my house because I was very much concerned with, as a part of this, you're funneling all of the rainwater to one place. So if you're not careful, it can create like flooding and stuff. So if you're not accounting for that, so I just wanted to make sure that when we were doing this, that I wasn't going to like flood my neighbor's yard or cause problems as a part of that. But he came out and does like a full breakdown, can tell you like where you need to be putting like the gutters and how to do it, how much water you can expect to be pulling off, and then they also have resources on like, because there's different elements to the system, and the main one is like what they call a first flush system. So it's like the rainwater comes off, and to make sure that you're not getting like silt and like all the stuff off of your roof, just that doesn't go into your tank. So you can build it. It's not terribly hard to just use like PVC pipes, and you can build it so that way that gets all the crud out, and then you're just getting and he has a lot of resources that I could actually share with you because I pulled all these documents too, because I just wanted to know before we got into it, like, and I realized that I was like, well, to really do this well, I think it was a little bit beyond, I think, my comfort level with it, with what we wanted to be able to do. Because we also wanted to, just kind of like looking ahead to climate change, knowing that we live in South Texas, I was like, basically, we can turn it into a potable system. I mean, it's just like way more expensive because you need, the filtration. You can integrate it into like your housing, plumbing, and all that, but the filtration system is really expensive.
Yeah,
like,
that sounds major.
Yeah, but once you have this system, like it's very easy to just like install that later, which was what we wanted. But it's been
we stood here in our back window and we watched a creek basically being formed just from the rain from our house and our gutters.
Yeah.
Going nowhere.
Yeah.
And it just seems so wasteful to me. I'm like, we have to be able to do better. Something.
Yeah.
We got to start somewhere.
Yep. And you can build the systems to like recharge the groundwater, like just to keep it on your property, right? So it doesn't flow at the very least, which is very important to me as well.
I'm definitely interested in hearing more about that.
Yeah. So I'll give you that. But like you should definitely talk to them because they do workshops all the time to tell you how to build your own system if you want to. And like I said, they'll come out, they will come to your house and like tell you where to position things and how to set it up that way.
I've definitely heard them before. And as a matter of fact, I think the first year I lived here, they did a vendor event.
Okay. Yeah.
That was how I heard about them.
Yeah.
Natural. They were looking for natural everything and pure and ethical, and that was how I got connected with them in the first place.
Yeah.
But then I think something happened and I wasn't able to do the event, so I still am not very aware of what they do.
Yeah. Well, I can send you all the information. That's no problem at all.
I would really, really love that.
Yeah. Okay, so like we've been talking a lot about many things, so but let's talk about Carmel Soap Company. So can you tell me, let's just start at the very beginning, like what is your story? How did you decide to start Carmel Soap?
So I'm 44 years old. I will actually be 45 in a couple of weeks. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I have 4 beautiful children. So my oldest daughter will be 26 in a couple of weeks, and my baby boy just turned 7 the other day.
Okay.
So I have 2 sets of children. Right. I had kids in my 20s, and then I had kids later in my 30s.
Yeah.
And so as I've gotten older, I've wanted to do, of course, the best that I possibly can do for my children. As a mom, as a wife, as a homeowner, as a community member, I've always wanted to be better, right? I'm always striving to do the best that I can possibly do in whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So, and I also come from a mom who was very physically fit, very physically educated. She was a strict vegan, so I come from those roots. And so when I had my second set of children, I changed the way that I parent in every way. So when I had my first two daughters, I worked for the federal government. I had a full-time job. I was a single mom at some point. So I was really just working to be able to sustain us, right?
Yep.
But then as I had my second set of children, life was more comfortable. I had an extremely stable relationship. I had a home. I was a homeowner. I had, achieved in my career. So things were different. Things were much less stressful, and I was able to provide in a whole lot fuller way than I was in my previous two. So I wanted to be as natural and as clean and as pure as possible with what I was, not only cooking. Like I love to, I really appreciate from scratch, right? So even I cook from scratch. I don't like to buy a whole lot of ready-made things, processed things. We don't eat fast food. We actually, since COVID even hit, we haven't eaten out once, not even have gotten a pizza order since March. And so I've always tried to just learn more and be better. I'm like a natural researcher. If someone asks me a question, I'll research it until I have every answer to the question.
Yeah.
So one particular day I had purchased a product, and I won't say the name, but it's a huge name company, and it starts with an A. And I had purchased it because my two little ones were very small at the time. And so I had ordered a baby wash on Amazon, like so many of us do. We order a ton of stuff from Amazon.
Yep.
And I bought from this big name company, and I bought the body wash for two reasons. It said natural, and it said lavender on the front. So I figured natural lavender baby wash, can't go wrong with that, right? So I remember when I got the package, I was so excited to get it and to use it. I put my kids in the bath at like 5 o'clock in the evening, which was an hour or two early for us at the time. And I opened the bottle, and I don't even, it's about like this, except it had a cap top. So I opened it, and what I typically did was I poured it under the water to get the bubbles going, and then I also used it on the washcloth to wash the kids at the time. I opened the bottle, and it smelled like window cleaner. And I was confused. I was confused. And so I thought, did I buy the right thing? I'm looking at the bottle. Did I buy the right thing? And I did at that point what we never do. I turned around and I looked at the ingredients. And I couldn't understand a thing. Nothing made any sense. Everything was a super chemical name. And I was so interested at the time, I stopped everything. And I went and I researched. There are quite a few resources online to research ingredients and various things that you can find in your food and in your skincare and everything, right? So I started researching those ingredients. I want to know what makes this natural baby wash that's supposed to be lavender smell like window cleaner. I'm no expert in natural scents, certainly not at the time. And so I called my husband and I said, what's this smell like? He said, it smells like Windex. I was like, okay, so it's not me. So we spent the whole night, and I'm a typical woman. I love stuff, right? I have a lot of stuff. We talked about this, I probably have 30 scarves. I have 50 plus pair of shoes. And at the time I had hundreds of products in my closet. So my linen closet wasn't full of linens. It was full of products. We went through every single one of those products, every single ingredient in every single one of those products, and looked up what it was, what was good, what was bad, what was artificial, what was natural, what was cancer causing, what was irritating, what should we be using and what we shouldn't. I think I had him up until about 3 o'clock in the morning that night. It was an obsession. And what came out of it was that big name natural lavender baby wash that I had bought was full of water, detergent, and fragrance. And that is why it smelled like a window cleaner, because it basically was. And so I thought, okay, I know I can't use this. I can't use any of the stuff that I had been using, this closet full of stuff I had. Can't use it anymore because I just figured out I'm using junk that it has of no benefit to not only my skin, but my very small children's skin at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I know what not to do, but now what do we do? And so I looked up another thing that we never do. What is soap?
Yeah.
And I came up with oil, lye, and water. That's what soap is. So you can use whatever kind of oil you want to use. So a lot of these big soap makers, when you go into the drugstore and you see the row of soaps, most of them are using beef fat or pig fat for their oil. You know, a lot of us don't. We never ask the question, what is soap? What's in my soap? How's my soap being made? We just buy the same thing we've always bought. We use the same thing we've always used. We use what mom used or what we get in the gift for Christmas. And we don't really think that much about what we're actually putting on our body. And so we think a lot about what we're eating, right? Because we're trying to be healthy, we're trying to be better. But we don't think nearly as much about the importance of putting good things on our skin. Because some of those things do actually absorb into your body and become who you are.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of research and I thought, okay, I had a soap bar that I used, right? So I bought this body wash for my kids, the soap I used. Huge soap company, probably the biggest in the world, starts with a D. I used it. I had tons and tons of bars. I started looking for their ingredients, couldn't find them. Wasn't listed on the box. Wanted to know why they call it moisturizing bar and not soap. So I got very, very interested in the whole understanding of what this whole skincare thing was.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I was a teenager, I grew up on base in Hawaii. And so when me and my friends used to go to Burger King, that was the only fast food place on base. I remember I was like 13 years old. We used to go there every day after school, and the burger was 89 cents. And I remember one day I came home and my mom was talking to me about Burger King, and I said, yeah, we went to Burger King. I can get a burger for under $1. You know, as kids, you don't have a lot of money. And she said something that I'll never forget. So now at almost 45 years old, I still think about it every day. And she said, if that company can make a burger and sell it to you for 89 cents and make money, how much are they putting into that burger? And it's something that has stayed with me, and certainly something that makes me want to make the most full, nourishing, honest, transparent, pure skincare that I can possibly make now. So, and that whole experience, right? So coming in through my childhood with my mother's influence, buying that body wash several now years ago, and doing all of the reading and research and getting educated on what's in what I use now, what do I not want to be in there in the future, and then what kind of service, what kind of product do I want to now provide to people. So the biggest thing that Carmel Soap has become is we're an educator, right? So we like to tell people, what do you use now? Okay, we'll take a look at this ingredient. This is what this means. You know, of course, big companies are really smart about marketing and gimmicking and naming things in a way that doesn't say pig fat on the ingredients list.
Right.
So it's about being educated on what exactly tallow is. Right? So tallowate, anytime you see that on your product, that's an animal fat.
Yep.
And because they don't say cow fat, we don't know that that's what it is.
Yep.
So it's like, how can you really get clean using something equivalent to a Crisco or a beef fat, rubbing that on your body? That just seems wrong to me. So Carmel Soap was created. Actually, it was called Paisley Naturals. That was our original name when I lived in Maryland. And soap is oil, lye, and water. Okay, lye sounds scary.
Yeah.
So after a couple of weeks of trying to piece together how I was going to do this, I thought, okay, I'm not ready for lye, right?
Sure.
Because even when you purchase lye, you have to basically sign the consent form, a waiver.
It's super costly.
This product, it's costly. It will burn you. It will burn a hole in you. So you have to be very careful. You have to be educated. You have to be prepared on what to use, how to use it. It's a chemistry project. So we started making lotions, body butters. And as I got very comfortable with that, I thought, okay, I'm ready. So I
Okay.
ordered my first lie. I thought, okay, I'm ready. So I ordered my first lie and I started putting my first soap bar loaves together, and they were huge fails. Fails and fails. And after several weeks of trying, I'm the kind of person that if you show me something once, I'll never have to come back to you again. I'm going to try it. I'm going to perfect it in my own way. I don't follow
Yeah.
directions. I don't follow the crowd. I don't follow recipes. Even with a brand new recipe, I'm still figuring out how can I make this myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kept trying, and eventually it started working. It started working, and it started forming into an actual loaf that I could cut and that I could learn from. And now, all these years later, it's my favorite thing to make. Just a pure natural soap bar. I have a few of them here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull that down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's why our name is the Carmel Soap Company, because everybody uses soap, everybody needs soap, and it's probably the most important thing you can do for your skin in any day, in any given day. So
Yeah.
so not only cleanses our body, but it also during that shower, that bath time is really a rejuvenating kind of a wind down period. Whether it's you're getting up in the morning and you really need to wake up, or you're going to bed at night and you really need to kind of wash off the day.
Yeah. So, how do you? So, and you offer a lot of products at this point. How do you go about like sort of when you decide to make something new? How do you
That's
develop?
such a good question. So I over the last probably this COVID time, six
Yeah.
9 months, um, I think I offer 80 plus products at this point, and
Yeah.
I'm heads up. I'm definitely going to be honing that in. I think we got to 80 because people would say, "Oh, well, can you make this? Do you make this? Can you make this, but like this? Do you make this in this scent, that scent? Do you make it like that? Or this is my problem. This is my concern. This is my challenge. This is what my child is dealing with, that kind of thing." And I
Okay.
thought, okay, well, yeah, I can make that. I can
Sure.
make it like that. I can do that for you. And so now we have 80 plus products. And the good thing is, I make almost every single order specifically for that person. So if an order comes in for a patchouli body wash and a vanilla bar, I'm going and I'm wrapping that bar at that time. I'm going and I'm mixing in the scent to that body butter at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become a very manageable part of doing business. Whereas, this time last year, we were in a store. COVID shut all that down. And for those who don't know me as well, I'm a germaphobe. So germs, people coughing, sneezing, and that's why this whole soap thing is perfect for me. And so
Yeah.
a lot of the products that we make is because people have come to me and asked me, and if I get 3 or 4 requests for the same thing, I'm going to make it. And
Yeah.
that's nice that this business is just me, myself, and I. So if Michael calls and he says, "Hey, I have this, I love the way you do this, but I have this problem, and I would love something that specifically addresses that problem." It's just me, so I can go ahead and make that product and see if that works for you. And so that happens a lot. And
Okay.
then when I put it out there, other people are like, "Oh, I want that too, I want that too." So then it becomes a product on our regular product line. But
Okay.
it's gotten to be nearly, it's getting challenging to manage it all. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely be re-examining that after Christmas and into the spring, and kind
Yeah.
of bringing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that I can make so much maybe doesn't mean that I need to. And so
Yeah.
we'll definitely be looking at what are the more popular things, what do people really continue to want over time.
Okay. Um, so, as you have tinkered and you add things to it,
Mm-hmm.
I know that the ingredients is like the prime motivator. That's really where it was about. Um, so, can you tell me a little bit about how you've gone about deciding what ingredients to use, how your process was? Because I think, and this sort of like ties in with me, because I assume that that's like the core sort of like ethical approach for you.
Yeah.
So how do you go about choosing those materials that you do use and sourcing them too?
So when the whole idea of creating a company was born in my head, it was I want to be able to make a product. Now that I know soap is oil, lye, water, I want to be able to create a soap, a lotion, a scrub, the 80 plus things that we provide in the most natural way possible. So, and people have come to me over the years and asked me to make a product or asked me to make a group of products for this event or that group or for themselves that I can't make naturally.
Yeah.
And I tell them I can't. I don't. I don't make anything I don't want to use for myself and on my family.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a period where it was like, there are a ton of soap makers out here. Went through a period where all the soap makers who use the bright micas and the big, bold fragrance oils were doing so much better as a business than I was.
Yeah.
So I remember making 2 or 3 batches of soap with the bright colors and the fragrance oils, and I hated it. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to use it. I didn't want it in my shop. I didn't. So it didn't speak to me, and it didn't sell very well, right?
Yeah.
So my market, the natural skincare and natural soap market is huge, right? There are hundreds of thousands of people who make soap or some sort of a skincare. But where I like for it to be my lane is I want to be the provider of as close to 100% natural as possible. So for our soaps are all made with castor oil, coconut oil, sustainable palm oil, soybean oil, and I feel like I'm missing one. Water, distilled water, so we don't even use tap water in our products. Distilled water and lye. And it's all made up. And at some point, when I get my workshop better laid out, I want to do some online so people can actually see. So I've taken like still pictures and I've done video clips and things of the process. But the most important thing for me is that our ingredients are as close to 100% natural as possible, and that they're not irritating, that they're safe for everybody in the house to use. So everybody in my house uses all of our products.
Yep.
There was another point that I wanted to make. What was it? Everything is made from scratch. There are a lot of soap makers and natural skincare makers that use bases. They're called bases, right? So you can buy a big bucket of lotion from the ton of soap suppliers out here, and you can add a pink color to it and rose fragrance oil to it, slap your label on it, and call it your own. That is not what we do, right? So I take a whole lot of pride in creating everything from scratch. So I start out with a bottle of olive oil and a jar of coconut oil, and I literally am making these things from the stuff that you can find and eat from your kitchen. So that's super important. The sustainability part of it, we want to be able to use things, like I said, some of the things that I use, I grow in my garden out back. We use distilled water. We want to continue to use products and ingredients that can be used over and over again without depleting the earth and taking from the animals and all of that. My daughter had just done a project yesterday on the Christmas tree that arrived with the baby owl in it. Did you hear about that?
No.
So we had to do a whole project on that and write a paper on it. And so we had this extensive conversation on why it's probably not a good idea for us to cut down trees. And we're not thinking about it. We're cutting a tree to decorate it for a month and to recycle it into something else, not thinking that, in doing that, we just separated a mom from her baby. And, my now 10-year-old is like, oh my goodness, I can't imagine if that would have been me. And now I may never see you again because they wanted to throw some lights on the tree. So, we're constantly thinking about what's the smartest ways to do this. Let's use even containers, packaging, that kind of thing. Let's minimize the packaging. Let's use reusable packaging. So once you're done using our body butter, perhaps you could use that jar or that bottle for something else. So we're always in that lane thinking about how to do this in the most honest, educational way possible. That also keeps it extremely affordable. A lot of natural skincare makers charge a lot of money just because we can, right? So it's because the ingredients are expensive. My olive oil costs, 20 or 30 times more than some free beef fat that I can get from the butcher who's throwing it out the back.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to create a really, really nice and luxurious and pure product, but we want to keep it as affordable as possible too.
Okay.
So it's a constant part of my thought process and how I make things every day.
Yeah. So that's I mean, like, so is there any part of your because it sounds like top to bottom, like everything you're looking through a lens of ethical.
Sorry, hold on one second. We talked about dogs, right?
My dog
Come here. So my husband took the kids, and he left me with this one.
Oh, yeah. Continue on.
This is Mackie Poo. He's 2 years old, and he keeps the house secure. All right.
It's the best security system.
Yes. If he's gonna do nothing else, he's gonna let you know that there's a problem. But that's about it.
Yep. Yeah. So with that in mind, given that you're sort of always on the lens of ethical, and I know that like as a small business owner, doing things the way you would like to is not always possible because of the fiscal and economic realities. So where is the place that like you're looking at and you want to do better, you just haven't figured out a way to get there yet? Or is there something that like you're working on that you're going to be rolling out soon that kind of can accomplish one of these things for you?
Well, I think planning out a little bit more. I'm very much a person who, Michael calls about a new product that I've not even thought about making before, or perhaps I've thought about making it, but it's on the back burner because there are so many other things to deal with today. And I love that because it's just me and all my ingredients and all the tools that I need. I might just get up and go make it right now. Yeah. And so a lot of that happens on a daily basis. So I think one of the things that I want to work on in the upcoming year is we talked about bringing the products down, right? Getting an opportunity to strategize and plan out a little bit more. I'm constantly just doing, right? I'm doing the lives, I'm doing the posts, I'm talking to people, I'm making sales, I'm filling orders, I'm making something. But I don't get a whole lot of time because it is just me to sit down and spend the day just writing, thinking, planning. So that is definitely something that I want to work on, just kind of creating a plan and creating a strategy and creating a schedule. I'm horrible at schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just being able to sit down, and it's one of the hardest things about doing it all on your own. You have to do everything. And so you're constantly having to prioritize what you're going to do today, do this week, do this month, for this season is definitely something that I need to work on.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there, so let's see, what time are we at? Okay. So I know I want to see you, we talked about doing a demo and I want to get to that. I guess my last like official question though, before we're out of here. So what does kind of operating ethically in your space like mean to you now, maybe where you started, where you are now, and what that means moving forward for you?
So, and when I learned about the ingredients in skincare products now, about 5 years ago, I was disappointed. I was appalled. I was frustrated. I felt lied to. To see all of these super cute commercials on TV about the new soap bar or the new lotion or the quarter moisturizing cream and all of that, and I fell for it. And we all do. And it's because we're not educated. It's because we don't have anyone telling us the real truth. And so one of the things that has stayed constant in this company and the idea of how we move forward has been our motto. We want to be honest, we want to be pure, and we want to be transparent. And so what that means to me, and it's funny that that's one of the very few things that has changed over the years. This whole idea was born out of feeling like I was lied to, right? Feeling like I was putting junk on my kids just to make some rich person richer, to make some company that was already huge even bigger. And so it wasn't for the benefit of my family. It wasn't for our health. It wasn't for our pockets. It was for them. And so one of the things that I have gone forward with and that has stayed true to me is that I want to be able to make something that is completely safe. And in order to do that, I want to make it natural. One of the things that we have new this year is our deodorants. People
Mm-hmm.
have been asking me for years to make deodorant, but deodorant is one of those things you cannot get wrong, right? Nobody wants to try a new deodorant, go to work, and it fail on you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that I have been thinking about for years, and I finally decided, like we talked about, I was able to give it a couple weeks, do lots of trial and error, and come up with a recipe that I was happy with, that I was proud of, and so
Mm-hmm.
we were able to do that this year. So I was able to make a deodorant that is 100% natural, effective, and safe, even for my 7 year, my brand new 7 year old who uses it whenever he feels
Mm-hmm.
like he needs it. Or a lot
Yeah.
of times when kids see mom or dad using something, they want to use it. You can
Sure.
swipe it on their underarm once or twice, and just because they don't even need it, but because
Yeah.
mom is doing it, you can say, here you go, and then not have to worry about it maybe causing a disease or something,
Rash
cancer
or
or
something.
something like
Yeah.
that lately. A lot of people don't know. My mother passed from breast cancer when she was just 51 years old back in early 2000s. And so
Mm-hmm.
it is a huge concern for me. I just came through a cancer scare. They've been telling me that I might, this and that is off and that I might have cancer. I had a biopsy, and thank God I'm negative. But it's
Mm-hmm.
a huge concern. And so I want to be able to give people, families, moms, dads, individuals who want to be concerned about being healthy, being responsible, being educated, and doing the right thing, and realizing that you can have pure natural products and not have to pay an arm and a leg for them. So
Yeah.
our new deodorants are $14 each, or you can buy two for $25. And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that is biggest to us is being completely honest and transparent, but the affordability factor is huge too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Just being
Okay.
clean, right? Being clean and keeping some of the money in your pockets. You're not paying for a name here, you're actually paying for the quality of our products.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not paying for marketing budgets or
No,
whatever.
I don't have one.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, let's get out of here.
You asked me for a demo.
Yep.
And while there are a ton of things that I could have done,
Yes.
my space is limited here.
Yeah.
And my camera setup. So I have my camera on one of those pods.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I got it from my daughter's room. She's not even here, so she didn't even know I used it. But my setup here is not like, I don't have a studio.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that, we talked about how I wanted to move forward. I want to move forward and have more of a studio space where people could actually see how things are made. So for right now, let me put this down. Okay, I have a bucket of water. Right? So guys,
Okay.
one of the things me and Michael talked about was showing soap. So let me take my ring off here so soap doesn't get caught. This is my mom's ring. I can't have soap caught in the gemstones. But we talked about how natural soap works. So one of the biggest misconceptions, and I get this question probably every week, is does it sud? Does it bubble?
Yep.
Does it actually clean? Does it work? So I have a sample. This is one of the soap samples that I send out, since I didn't want to use a whole bar of soap for this.
Sure.
But the way that we make soap is the way soap was originally made, right? So before companies came in and cheapened and had this huge manufacturing process, this is the way soap was made 1, 2, 300 years ago. This is actual soap. So what you're using in the drugstores isn't exactly how it was intended all those years ago. So here we took it back to the original way of making soap. So this is our lemon poppy bar. I don't know if you can see so it's colored with organic turmeric. That's how you get that yellow. There's blue poppy seeds in it. And this is our signature formula. So this is the oil grouping that I talked to you about earlier. So there's coconut oil in here. There's nothing drying. There are no detergents. There are no fragrance oils. There's nothing artificial in this bar, right? And it's hard. So when we make soap, it's soft. We take it out. We cut it into these bars here from a loaf. And then we let it dry out for about 6 weeks. That drying process hardens the bar and makes it last longer for the user.
Okay.
Right? Makes it more mild. So here, I'm just going to show you how it works. I want you to notice how it bubbles. I want you to notice how creamy it is. And then I'm going to show you the most popular hand cream we have in the shop.
Okay.
Okay, so just dip it in there. You can already see the bubbles going.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll bring it up to the camera so you guys can see.
Oh yeah, that's a nice look.
So it's softening. It's not stripping the skin like soaps do. It is
Mhm.
not going to leave you dry and itchy like so many soaps do. It's a creamy, bubbly lather. And of course, like soap, the more you mess around with it, the more big bubbles you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
But it's going to be creamy. It's not going to be drying. It's not going to strip down the skin. What it's doing is it's breaking down the dirt molecules, breaking down the oil, the grease, all of the things that we put our skin through, and leaving you with moisturized skin,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not dry skin. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a towel here, and then I'm going to show you working hands. So working hands is one of those products, Michael, that we talked about that customers have demanded of me over time.
Okay.
So I have a lot of customers who are nurses, doctors, physician's assistant, medical assistant types who have to use hand sanitizer or they have to wash their hands many, many times. So I created this product for people like them and like me. So since I work with my hands all day, I probably wash my hands 25 or 30 times a day. That is a lot of wear and tear. Even if you're using a natural soap, that's a lot of wear and tear on your skin. Mm-hmm. So I created working hands, right? So I just dabbed this in there so I could use this for our presentation today because I wanted you to see the texture of it, right? Yep. So working hands is awesome because it's made with organic shea butter and it's made to not only moisturize the skin, but to protect the skin. Right? So we're going to use that on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super thick. And so what working hands is going to do is it's going to moisturize, it's going to hydrate, and then it's going to protect your skin. And you saw the amount that I used.
Yeah.
This is enough definitely to use on my hands and at least halfway up my arm. Mm-hmm. So every time I put working hands on, I put it on that first half of my arm right on up through my elbows.
Okay.
Right? And then you can see just how the skin looks.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not going to get the stripping. What we don't want to do is strip the skin just to build it back up. And that's what soaps do. That's what the shampoos and everything that we put in our hair and on our skin do. They strip down and then we have to build and put the moisture back. That's what we don't want to do. We want to be able to, let me put you back here. We want to be able to cleanse the skin without drying it, without stripping it. We want to just take the dirt, the oil off, all the germs and everything off from that day. We don't want to deplete the natural oils. And it's especially important as we get older. We start looking older, right? We start looking drier, we start looking drawn, and we want to be able to keep that moisture in there. Hydration is the key.
Cool. Well, that's beautiful. I hope everybody goes out and gets some of your soap and the moisturizing.
Yep. One of the things I want to mention before we leave is we're in the middle now of 12 days of phase. So we have 12 days that goes through December 18th of 12 different packages of super easy gift sets that you can get. So if you're interested, go to the website, carmelsoap.com, and check out 12 days of phase.
Excellent. Yes, everybody needs soap. It's the perfect gift. So yeah,
and it's nice neutral stuff. Like today we have our soy candles. So it's something that's going to be nice for everybody: men, women, moms, teens, and everybody in between.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's all we have for now. Thank you again, Tarra, and we're so grateful to have you part of the.
Michael, appreciate Ensa.
Yes. And just so everyone knows, we've got one more interview coming. I will be on in about 10 minutes with Katie Pruitt, the editor-in-chief of ESJ. About ethical fashion.
Awesome.
So thanks again, Tarra. We'll see y'all later.
See you guys.
Bye.